Hi, I'm Chelsea. The person who will be doing this vlog with me is actually my cousin Edward, who actually had to go to work or school today. I'm not sure which one he had to do. But I'm gonna tell you a little about our vlogs. They'll all be about things that we feel people are afraid to talk about, or you just don't want to talk about them out of fear that you're gonna step on someone's toes. And some of them might be things that you may have experienced in your everyday life. If there's a certain topic that we haven't covered, then you should let us know, and eventually we will get around to them. Today's topic is rape. It's something that happens to most women, children, men, elderly, young people. Alike, they don't care if you're black, if you're white, if you're Hispanic, if you're broke, if you're on top of the world, if you're going through it, or what. But the sad thing about it is that 15 out of 16 rapists will never spend a day in jail. For me, that's a hard pill to swallow. Someone that I personally know feels that whoever rapes someone should spend the equivalent time in jail that a person would spend if you murdered someone. Well, when you think about it, you kind of are killing a part of that person. That person could turn around and commit suicide. They could have a child. They could catch the HIV virus. They could become promiscuous. But regardless to how your decision affects them, it will still change their life. A part of them is dying. You know, they might lose peace of mind. It might split up their marriage. Whatever. You're taking something away that does not belong to you. It is not your choice. It's not their choice, rather. You're taking it away from them. Some people find it hard to believe that there are actually men who are being raped as well. There are only less than, I believe it's 1% who report it. Just because they're not speaking up doesn't mean that they're not a victim. It could be your husband, it could be your best friend, it could be your cousin, it could be you who's watching this. Just because you're not saying anything or they're not saying anything does not mean that it's not happening worldwide. But, however, just because they're not coming out and talking about it, or just because it happened to them, rather, does not mean that it makes them any less than a man than what they are. It doesn't take away from their masculinity. It doesn't mean that it's not happening. It doesn't mean that it hasn't affected them negatively. It just means that they're afraid that you're going to judge them, or whatever the problem might be. Or maybe they don't know how to say it. It's not exactly the easiest thing in the world to talk about. On the flip side, there are women in our world, not only country, but our world, being raped. Do you think it's because they're an easy target? Do you think that it's because no one will listen to them? Is that in fact the problem that we're having in the world that we live in today? To me, this is how I personally feel. Since when did a guy raping his 12-year-old neighbor become a good friend? Since when did the woman make her son sleep with men and women to put a little extra change in her pocket become nurturing? I don't care if the only thing you have in the house was half a bean. Your job as a parent is to protect, love, and teach your child, not to purposely put them in any kind of harm or danger. If you're the man watching this that sneaks into your girlfriend's 13-year-old daughter's room at night, I think that you need to pray and think about how the decision you're making and the life that you're destroying is going to change her. Think about what she might have to go through at 9 months, or in 9 months rather. When she has a child, and the one friend she does have, something happens to them, they move away, whatever stuff happens in life. Think about how people are going to judge her. We've all been to high school, most of us. I just recently graduated. Think about how she's going to become the quote-unquote school whore. Think about how are you going to snatch away her peace of mind? Instead of changing her life for the worse, why don't you tell her that she's beautiful? Tell her that there isn't anything, regardless of what her and her mother are going through, there's nothing that she can't accomplish. That she doesn't need a guy to tell her that she's pretty. She can look into the mirror and tell herself that. Instead of putting your son through the same thing your mother put him through, why don't you tell him that even if you have to work 6 jobs to put a piece of chicken on the table, that you're not going to put him through what your mother put him through, and that by the grace of God you will eat tonight and every other night for the rest of his life. Instead of talking about the girl with the baby who was raped, why don't you reach out to her? Her story might be yours, or your mother's, your sister's, your cousins, or even your best friend. Why don't you risk your reputation to help him or her? How far are you willing to go for a friend? I mean, after all, high school lasts for 4 years of your life. Friendships can last a lifetime. You do the math.